All right. Welcome to another Thursday, which means it's another episode of InfoSec Unplugged. I am your host, Davin Jackson, also known as D-Jax. Thank you for joining tonight. I have a special guest, but before I bring her in, I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys for a second. So, as we all know, Thanksgiving is next week. So there will be no episode next week. We're going to take a break and spend some time with family, enjoy the holidays and, just reflect on things to be thankful for. And 2020 is definitely important that we stop to smell the roses and take a moment to be grateful for the things that we should be grateful for. One second here. Don't know if that's causing any extra noise. So there will be no InfoSec Unplugged next week. We will resume with our regular schedule probably the following week or the week after. I'm still working out a couple things. I have something in the works. If it works out, I'll announce it on social media. But I just want to say, as 2020 comes to a close, it's still a lot of time to kind of get your goals done and take advantage of the year of 2020 that has kind of been rough on all of us. You can kind of take back, some of that power and learn something new, whether it's a new skill, start a new business. It's never too late. And, believe it or not, if you want to get into tech or cybersecurity, a lot of skills translate that you do every day translate into cybersecurity or technology as a whole. And my next guest is proof that if you have the skill set and the passion for it, you can achieve whatever it is you want to do. She is just an overall great person. She's definitely been helpful to me and helpful to many others. And it is my honor and my privilege to have her on the show today. So please welcome Tracy Maleeff, also known as InfoSec Sherpa on Twitter.
Hi.
How you doing?
I am doing great. Greetings from the suburbs of Philadelphia in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I am representing Philly here. I got my Temple Owls sweatshirt on. I have my Carson Wentz, even though he's bugging the heck out of me right now, my Carson Wentz pint glass with a gin and tonic because I drink gin and tonics out of a pint glass because I'm a lady, obviously. Obviously. So I'm just so honored to be here. So thank you so much for having me. And let's shake some tables. Let's talk about some stuff.
Let's get to it. So I usually start the show. Like I said, it's a new show. So I have a new guest. New guest every week. And I'm hopefully attracting a new audience. Hopefully some of the guys and ladies are coming back. So why don't you just let some people know about who you are? You can keep it brief and talk about your journey into this field of this wonderful field we call technology and cyber.
Absolutely. So hi everyone. I'm Tracy Maleeff. I'm also known as InfoSec Sherpa, and I am currently employed as an information security analyst for the New York Times Company. And I've been in cybersecurity for about 4 years, but my story begins 5 years ago. I was a law firm librarian. I have a master's degree in library and information science, and I spent about 15 years as a librarian. And I declared 2015 the year of my career, and I was going to explore, did I want to stay a librarian? Did I want to do something else? And long story short, I was turned on to the wonderful world of cybersecurity, and I thought, where has this been all my life? My joke is that I didn't realize that my natural paranoia and distrust of things was a career path. So I capitalized on that, and I credit with the Women's Society of Cyber Jiu-Jitsu for really helping me, discover myself and put me on this path, because I took some classes with them and really realized, I think this is my calling. And a lot of people think it's odd to come from the librarian world into InfoSec, but honestly, I use my master's degree in library science skills every day. There is a lot of crossover, and so I always love to talk to people, about who come from these, quote unquote, non-traditional backgrounds. Again, if you put your mind to it, if you have, will and, determination, you too can, leave a life in the library behind. And I'm very grateful for that experience. And like I said, I use my library skills all the time. So I up and quit my job in January of 2016. It was kind of scary, I'll be honest, because I had my own office. I had Florida ceiling windows. I had a door. I had a pretty cushy job, and but I wanted more. I knew that there was more that I could give, and I believe strongly in this principle in Judaism called tikkun olam, which means repair the world, heal the world. And I felt like I could use my talents and my drive and my willpower to try to help the world in a cybersecurity way. So I up and quit my job January 2016. I started my own company, which was called Sherpa Intelligence. And I did a variety of things. I did research projects. I did social media management. I went to so many cybersecurity conferences. I think I've lost track. It was either 12 or 15 that year. Some of them I was paid to go to because I was hired as a freelancer to go to those conferences and do a company's social media on site to kind of, give them a presence there. So I was a sponge and I absorbed everything. I did get a lot of rejection letters. A lot of people, as soon as they saw the L word, the library word on my resume, I was rejected. But I just kept plugging away. And, we can talk later about some of those strategies because I know some people are trying to get in who might be listening. But I was then hired for a SOC position at a pharmaceutical company. And what was said to me during the interview was, we can teach you the tech. We just can't teach someone all these soft skills that you have. So I was, they recognize the skill and the value of soft skills. So yeah, I worked my butt off and I got a SANS GSEC cert and I learned everything. And meanwhile, incorporating these soft skills. And I lasted in the SOC for 2 years. And then they had a big corporate restructuring, as big companies are wont to do. And then very, fortunately, I was able to land at the New York Times. Where I've been for over a year, and I love it. And it's great. And it is amazing to me that, relatively speaking, it's not that long of a time period. So I feel like I'm living proof that it can be done. For those of you who are maybe in a different field, who are struggling and feeling discontent, it can be done. You can change careers, and later in life, you can do that. So it's that's pretty much where I am now. And then along the way, I'm doing my best to be a good InfoSec community member. I very much believe in diversity and equality and leveling the playing field. And I just feel so strongly about just social justice and equality that I wanted to get involved with things like Share the Mic and Cyber. And just, I do a lot of things that people don't even know about. And
well, we're
because
gonna get into that.
Okay.
Into it. So you taking on my talking point.
Oh, sorry. Well, we'll circle back. But I didn't say that because I wanted like praise or anything. But just to prove that, yeah, like, this feels so strongly to me that, there's stuff that I do publicly, but there's a lot of stuff I do privately, and that's fine. Like, I'm not looking for a parade. I just want to repair the world. So that's kind of where I am now. And I had the pleasure of crossing paths with our host, and now we're here.
You know what? That, like I said, we've interacted on numerous occasions, but what you just said about, how you want to repair the world and just your vision, that makes so much sense and it speaks to the person that you are. And like I said, we're going to get in.
Okay.
Because like I said, yeah, we crossed paths a couple times, but I think on Twitter, you just kind of just reached out and just kind of gave me words of encouragement. And I was just like, wow, that was, and like I said, and I don't hold back any secrets. I'm an open book. So, back in the summer when I was kind of going through and having my issues with burnout and thinking about walking away, you definitely were someone who reached out, when you didn't have to. And, like I said, that goes a long way with me. So like I said, to me, it's like, you have a friend in me for life. For that, because like I said, in this world where people see things and it's just like whatever, you put yourself in a vulnerable position to say, hey, how are you doing? And not knowing me, I could have been someone's like, mind your business, but and it was just like, wow, that's great. It's a great thing. And we're jumping ahead a little bit, but it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying, I want to be an ally to people in tech and cybersecurity and people of color and women. And, I want to be an ally. And I told him, I said, listen, I pointed them directly to you. I said, you need to follow her, because you are truly, in my opinion, you are truly like what an ally is. Like, it's a thankless job. But you go out there, you put your neck on the line. We don't have to. Just people. The people in the chat that are just like saying your name in all caps and stuff like that. See, you think I'm joking? See,
I see. Hi, Mary. I see Mary.
But like I said, it's just it just goes to show just how awesome of a person you are. And like I said, you reached out to me, set me up and stuff. Like if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have spoken at Hack at the Harbor, which is the next topic I wanted to talk about, because I really enjoyed our conversation and our dialogue there about the differences in professional networking. Where if you guys haven't seen it, at Hack at the Harbor, we did a panel on professional networking. It was me, Tracy, and Zena. Cheerio on Twitter, and we talked about just our different outlooks. And I talked about how I didn't have any real history with networking. I tried and I didn't like it, and I just kind of did my lone wolf approach, and Tracy kind of was the opposite. And I wanted to kind of just talk about that here, because a lot of people talk about the importance of professional networking, if it's even necessary. So please, the floor is yours.
Sure. I just want to backtrack 1 second. And now let me preface this by saying, by no means am I saying that Black folks and people of color should have the onus or the burden on them to make things happen. But I just want to credit you of telling me what you wanted, and what you wanted was to speak more. So I took that and I was trying to find opportunities to make that happen, because if you hadn't shared that with me, I wouldn't have demanded and that you be on the panel with me for that. So again, like I definitely want to talk about, this in networking, but by no means am I saying that burden is on you, but I just want to give you feedback that the fact that you shared that with me enabled me then to be the catalyst to make that happen. And then when I saw this opportunity, I was like, oh, you're doing this with me. So I just wanted to share that. But you broke my heart during that panel discussion, because the question the moderator asked us was, how many jobs have we gotten through networking? And you said none. And then they turned to me and I said, I'm having a hard time thinking of a job I didn't get through networking. And I just felt awful. I was like, oh my goodness. So, but what that did internally was, not that I was already there, but it just kind of kicked me 25 more yards down the road, was, oh, there's a lot more work to be done in helping underrepresented folks network, and what that means, and also kind of whipping the white folks in shape of like, hey, people, that's not, the burden's not on them. We need to outreach more. So while it did make me sad, I did find the silver lining, which was, okay, now it's even clearer to me how much more work we have to do and where the work is needed. So networking is something that, it's the little circles, it's the little circles and the whispers. And it's, networking helps get you past the scanners. it's meaning like the the screeners, sorry, is what I meant. The screeners that screen, resumes and things like that. Having a person on the inside helps with that. And if you don't have a very diverse network or a very large network, that's really going to hurt your chances. So, I mean, I know some people think that networking is very superficial and catty and things like that. It doesn't have to be. It can be very rewarding. I see it as a seesaw. You give some, the other person gives some. Sometimes you're just kind of hanging out in the middle. It's what you can do for someone and what they can do for you in equal parts. Obviously you don't want it to be that you're up in the air because someone's doing all the work for you. You want to keep a symbiotic relationship. So so this is a perfect example. I helped you achieve some of your, the one goal of getting to talk at Hack at the Harbor, and then now you get, and now I'm invited on this. So it's like perfect. You and I are sitting on the seesaw. Yeah. And I've given talk when I was a librarian. I used to give networking talks all the time. I one time gave an 1.5-hour talk, which I didn't think I could pull off, but I did. And I held that audience of 300 the whole time of networking. And one of the things I said was, let's forget about, race and background and all that stuff. Your network needs to be diverse. It needs to have folks who are older than you, folks that are younger than you, folks in other disciplines, people who didn't go to college, people who have PhDs. And obviously we also want to have that cultural diversity, but it needs to have all different facets, because you never know when you're going to need some information. Now, say you make friends with someone who's in the oil and gas industry, who has nothing to do with security or tech, but they're in oil and gas. Well, what's a hot area for InfoSec right now is that sort of OTS stuff. Well, you might be able to glean some information from them that will help you better understand securing their assets. So that's just a real simple example, but I believe firmly in leveling the playing field. Yeah. And that's why I feel so strongly about networking. And I love introducing people to each other. I mean, it's maybe the Yenta in me, but oh man, one of my favorite things to do is, reach out to someone. Hey, may I introduce you to so-and-so? Yeah. And I did that over the weekend. I'm not going to get into any specifics. I didn't ask the person if it was okay to mention this, but there was someone who needed some professional I was about to say help, and that's not what I meant.
It's 2020. We all kind of need.
I was going to say, yeah. No, he needed some professional guidance and assistance, wanted to kind of change the job. He's already in InfoSec, but wanted to change jobs. And, just kind of casually asked me, oh, do I know anyone? Oh, well, I just dug in. I was like, all right. And so I was thinking through my mental Rolodex. I'm like, who do I know would be good? Who do I know? And by the end of the day, I'm like, here, I got 3 names for you, to do that. And it was just such a pleasure for me. Like, it almost feels like a guilty pleasure, because I'm like, oh, this warms my heart. So I set them all up, exited the room, because I'm like, this isn't about me. Mm-hmm. And then I just, at some point I expect to hear back, but then it's like, okay, it's gone. I've cast those apple seeds away. Go bloom trees, bear fruit, and I just love that, and that's how it should be. That's how networking should work.
Right, and I think again that goes to the point of even how the talk was the idea of the talk was cultivating networking like a garden, and exactly what you're doing, right? You kind of plant the seeds and you kind of groom them and watch them grow, and then you move on to the next, right? And like I said, it definitely opened my eyes a lot. Like I said, because me coming into it, like I said, when I first started, I reached out to a couple people, didn't hear anything back, and it was just like, all right, fine. Right? Yeah. And I was just on that, and then as I got into it and started to talk to other people, so talking to you, and also like a conversation I had with Marcus J. Carey, shout out to Mark.
Oh, of blessed name. Yeah. He is the best. Yeah.
He kind of gave me a different outlook on it, maybe they wanted to see what you were bringing to the table first and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. But which is another reason what brought me to doing the blog and then even this show, is because, you know, I want to just kind of bring people together in a sense where certain people, where it's almost like they're unreachable, right? And my thing is, there's yeah, you have your rock stars in the field, and then you have your big names in the field, but I don't think they should be like, they should all be approachable. And this is my little way of trying to do it, right? Because I was there not too long ago thinking, man, you know, even with you, like, man, you know, she seems to be a great advocate in the community, but would she even respond if I, you know, if I tweet at her or I send her a message, right? So now it's kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'm a middle of the roads type of person, and now I, you know, I have that connection with you, and I have that connection with other people. So now it's like, well, hey, come talk to these people here, and that's the whole, you know, point of this show. So let's talk about, I mean, so you talked about, you know, where you were and your journey into it. Some of the skills that, like we talked about before, you know, how the skills translate. Did you find it difficult to try to adjust those skills to cybersecurity? Was it something that was just like a natural thing to do? And what tips would you give to anybody looking to start a career into it that can that's looking to see what skills they have that they can translate into it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the first thing I recognized when I started my SOC job was the lack of communication that the analysts had with the end users, to the point of like they didn't speak to them at all. And you have to understand, from my librarian perspective, that's a foundation of the skills that you learn, is dealing with people. So the fact that there wasn't even any interaction with the end users. So if someone's looking to get into this, you know, make sure you have some people skills. And I do know that to some people that sounds scarier than anything you could think of. But you know what the good news is? It's a skill that you can learn and hone, and you can craft it. And, you know, you don't have to be out there kissing babies, shaking hands. You know, there's a more, you know, middle of the road response. But yeah, I recognize that the soft skills were lacking. And what's not so different from library world is you have a lot of people who aren't necessarily people centric. You have a lot of very technical minds who are very good at ones and zeros, but when it comes to human flesh, they're not so great. So I've had to have a lot more patience dealing with tech types who aren't reacting to my you know, happy Smurf attitude at times. And I try not to let that affect me. I recognize that some people, you know, aren't very people centric. So I try not to let it bother me. And like just to tie that in with what you said about people not getting back to you, it may have just been because they're not really, you know, good with people skills. They may have just been either scared or reluctant or for some reason. And that may have just been your bad luck, unfortunately, that you contacted them. So I'd really love to see more people in security really embrace the human side, because at its core, you know, security is human, right? We're either defending against humans. I mean, until the computers all become sentient, we're still dealing with humans, right? I mean, whether we're defending against them or trying to protect them, humans are at the center of security, not networks per se. And I'd argue that, you know, all day. So that's why I feel like we really need to work on that more. So I hope that that's helpful. Because again, if that's not something that's natural to you, there's definitely things you can do. And what I recommend is, and I know this is going to sound weird, improv classes. You know, improv, like comedy, improv. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get up in front of a brick wall with a microphone. I'm not asking anyone to go perform, but I've been meaning to write this blog post, and things keep happening, but I have attended a total now of 3 improv classes, and just I left those classes rejuvenated with an even better focus of how to help people in security, because the improv classes force you to think on your feet. you may get it wrong in front of a room of people, but you don't drop dead. You get a round of applause at the end and you take your seat. So it really helps you to think on your feet, problem solve on your feet, trying to figure out what someone's trying to do. There'll be charades, or and I'll tell a story of where I failed miserably at Improv. I volunteered to go first for this activity called press conference, and I didn't know who I was supposed to be, but the people in the audience were supposed to phrase their questions with clues to help me figure out who I was supposed to be. So, spoiler alert, long story short, I was supposed to be Harry Potter. Now, I have never read any of the Harry Potter books. I've never seen any of the movies.
Oh, no.
So all of these terms they're saying to me, I didn't know what they were talking about. And I could just see the frustration. Like, first it was like kind of laughing that I didn't get it. But then at the end, it was just like, how does this woman not know this? And finally, and then I was getting frustrated too. I'm like, I don't understand what they're trying to say. And I think the closest I got was, am I some sort of magician? And everyone's like, yeah. And then I went off to like, am I Chris? What's his face? And I went off in a whole other direction. You could see everybody. How much does that sound like a security problem? Someone trying to explain something to you and you're not following. So I highly, highly, highly recommend improv classes for people who want to work on those communications and people skills. Like I said, if it winds up that you have a show, please call me, because I'll definitely zoom in for that. But you don't even have to be a performer, just going through the classes. And the one thing I want to give a shout out to the Layer 8 conference in Providence, Rhode Island. They have improv classes as part of their annual conference. It is a separate fee. I believe it was only $40. But they bring in, professionals from a local improv school, and they have it as part of their conference because they see the value in those skills and things like that. So improv, and I keep meaning to write this blog post because I think I need to take another class because I want things to be fresh in my head, because at this point it's been pre-COVID since I've done that. But that really opened my eyes to another way of dealing with problem solving.
No, that's actually interesting, because it's kind of like thinking on your feet on the spot, and that's exactly what you have to do sometimes, especially if there's like an outage or something. And also, I hope my daughter wasn't listening when you said you never watched any of the Harry Potter movies. She has been on a Harry Potter tear lately. I'll even put up some pictures from Halloween.
And that's great. I love to see kids reading. That's just not a genre that I get into. Yeah. And I know I've had people say to me, well, you're a librarian. How could you not read Harry Potter? I'm like, how are those two connected?
Like, you had to see the books, but
I do read. I just don't read that. And I don't begrudge anyone who's into it. It's just not my thing. And in hindsight, it was pretty hilarious that they were saying things and that were, in hindsight, were clearly obvious, and I was just oblivious. I'm like, who's that guy I'm thinking of? What's his
Chris
face?
Angel.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, am I Chris Angel? Yeah. Like, I don't. Yeah. Like anyone wishes to be. But anyway.
I've seen some of the shows. Okay. So, another thing, like I said, I think that everybody will say about you, and again, it's in your intro. Like I said, you're a giving soul, you're a giving spirit. And it even shows in the contributions that you've done from, the Tribe of Hackers books. Again, shout out to Marcus J. Carey.
Oh, yes.
And everybody who participated in those books. Waiting for my turn, but no rush. But yeah, I've seen what you've done with them. You've won numerous awards. You've also dealt with, like, you got the Women in Security Leadership Award. You participate in the Diana Initiative. So why don't you, speak about those? Because again, just like how you are, an ally to underrepresented people.
Oh, sure.
I also am looking to do that too. And, just, it's not just people like me, women also have a terrible time in this field. And, like I said, and just like how you can reach out to help me, I would also want to do that for the ladies in the field, or any underrepresented, any underrepresented group in this field. So please,
Sure.
just so please speak on that for a little bit.
Sure. I grab it, but it's across the room and I don't want to delay the show. But one of the awards I'm most proud of, and I see her in the room. Hi, Michaela. I very, very kindly received an ally award from the Blacks in Cybersecurity group. And that meant the world to me, because that is something I feel strongly about. It's just, helping Black folks get into, even if it's not security, just, getting out from, the systemic racism in our country, in our world. I love working with my folks in Africa. I see Sherry's in the, hi Sherry. I see there. And that just means so much to me. But being an ally, being an ally is putting others first. So, I want to see, Black and cybersecurity groups succeed. I want to see all of our, African friends succeed. And just whatever I can do to help with that, however little it is. Like I said, I'm not doing it for a parade for myself. Hi again, Sherry. Can I just give a shout out to Sherry real quick? She's amazing. So she's from Nigeria and she recently moved to Canada. Sorry, I hope Sherry's not mad that I'm telling all her business. But she's an amazing, amazing woman. She's so smart and I just love her to death. Yeah, shout out Sherry. I just think it's so important because, we all have different points of view. And one of the things I feel strongly is about the Black community, has such a very specific point of view when it comes to privacy and security that I think gets overlooked, especially with a lot of consumer products. Mm-hmm. And we need more, Black and Latinx and LGBTQ voices. We need more of these different voices in security to make things secure. Keeping all of these things secure for white people doesn't help the rest of the world. And that's the point of view that's being put forward. So, and I have no problem calling things out. If you've seen my Twitter feed, I called out the Hallmark Channel because their Christmas movies are all white people. And I was like, yep. I'm like, I'm going to go to Netflix and watch Jingle Jangle because I don't need to see any of those Hallmark Channel movies. Come on.
and some people look at it like, oh, what's the big deal? But, again, representation.
Oh, it's a huge deal. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Okay, so my brain is always going good or bad. And I apologize for cutting you off, but the representation matters. I want people to realize that the representation doesn't matter just for the underrepresented folks. It needs to matter more to the represented folks so they see what's missing. Right. And like I had this epiphany the other day. I'm like, I need more people to realize that the representation matters hashtag and mantra isn't just for you, it's for all of us. And I think too many people think it's for you. Yeah. And I'm like, no. It's like, I'll tell you, when I see companies that have more diverse ads on TV, I notice and I'm like, oh, I'm buying Cheerios. They had a biracial family. I'm buying Cheerios. I'm going to spend my money in places that are showing representation. Mm-hmm. Sorry. I'm getting on my soapbox. Is that all right?
You don't hear me? I'm going to talk about it. That's
Can I get an amen?
Yeah, right. So, and you know what, but and I said something similar in the Share the Mic and Cyber event that I took part in. Shout out to Selena Larson. A lot of these companies are multi-million-dollar companies, and that's great. I applaud you. Mm-hmm. But you're holding yourself back from probably being a multi-billion-dollar company because you're so minded and so biased and stuck in your own way. there are people in the Black community, in the Latinx community, in the Caucasian community, in the LGBT community. There are people, and you won't even give them a look because they don't look like you, or they don't fit your cultural fit. And and I think that's where a lot of this movement comes from, where if it's one thing that 2020 is showing us, is that, there's opportunities out there for people to go ahead and do it and build your own. And again, I keep giving this warning. It's not necessarily a warning or a threat, but we're tired, right? We're tired of asking. And I'm not just talking about one group of people. I'm talking about everybody. We're tired of the gatekeepers. We're tired of the tech bros. We're tired of shit, and we're tired of asking for a seat at the table. And like one of the people in the chat said, and then some of us don't get a seat at the table, and then some that do sit there and wait for the scraps. So we're tired of it. So the table's getting built, and the conversation is going to change real quick when the table gets built. It might not be me, but it might be someone. Tupac said it best. I may not change the world, but I might spark the mind that will change the world. And when it happens, I don't want to hear shit from these same gatekeepers when they're like, how come I can't get in? No, you had your chance. So, heed this warning, because it's gonna happen. So anyway, now I got to get off my soapbox.
That's it. And to paraphrase Big Daddy Kane, building ain't easy. So
about it. I love it.
So yeah, we need to work. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
And no, I'm with you. And I need more people to speak out, to call out inequities, call out inequality. I feel very #blessed that, my team at the Times is very diverse. We have so many different points of view, and I love it. I feel like my team is what teams should be in InfoSec. We have all kinds of diversity. Like I said, the representation matters to me too. I look, I so many times I've replied to tweets from conferences when it's just been all white men, at an event. I'm like, no, pass. That's not okay. So we need more people to speak up about that. And the other thing too, I don't want to say her name because I didn't ask her ahead of time if it was okay, but I had dinner one night with a Latinx woman, and I said to her, I am fully aware that there are things that I can say that underrepresented folks can't say without risking any backlash or anything. And I was like, you know what? I am a loudmouth broad from Philadelphia. I'm going to say what I mean. I'm not going to say anything hurtful, but I'm going to say something helpful. And I'm going to use my mouth. And again, this is where the word privilege comes in. A lot of people think privilege means money. Privilege means opportunity. Privilege means doing things without consequences. Not facing backlash for them. That's privilege. So you know what? I'm going to harness, my white lady privilege and start speaking up about stuff. And combined with me being from Philly and me being who I am, come at me, bro.
I will speak to it. Like, you don't want that smoke with her.
I'm sorry. I just want to tell you a quick story. So true story. I went to a developers conference. This was the end of 2015. So I was still kind of feeling around what I wanted to do with tech and security and things like that. And I had purchased this ticket a long time ago. So by the time it came around December 2015, I was like, well, I know I'm into security, but I already have the ticket. I'll just go. So I went to this one booth, and I have no problem going up to a vendor booth and being like, hi, what do you do? And because that's how you learn, right? You ask questions. So this guy, and I apologize, some of you may have heard this story before. The guy just kind of looked at me dead-eyed and was like, everybody knows what we do. And I'm like, inside my head, I'm just like, oh, no, you didn't. So I just calmly said, with a smile, like, okay, well, that's great for everyone else, but I'm new to all this. What do you do? He just stared through me like I wasn't even there. And, you know, inside my head, I'm like, oh, hell no. No, you do not play me that way.
Right.
So I grabbed onto the booth. I leaned over because I could see that there were people in the back of the booth. And I leaned over and I shouted. I said, I'm trying to find out about your product and he won't tell me. Is there someone here who can tell me about this product? So the people come scrambling to the front, literally pushed him out of the way. And I, you know, should have gotten an Oscar for the very calm and refined face that I put back on as I listened to them talk about their product, which at that point I really didn't care anymore.
Yep.
So then I was like, after that all was done, I thanked them and I was like, he needs an attitude check and should not be talking to people, and walked away.
Nice.
So that is how I will do you if you try to, you know, to approach me that way, because it I don't know if it was because I was a woman or because I said I wanted, like, I don't know what his I don't know what triggered Chad,
Well,
but
they have, you know, especially some of these vendors are like, we are insert name of vendor here, and you know, bow down before us, and
and honestly, I don't even remember who it was. Now, remember, this was the developer world, so it wasn't a security vendor or anything. But fast forward to like a month later, I was at ShmooCon, and I went to a very prestigious, prominent security vendor. Someone called them the Maserati of the cybersecurity world. I walked up to their booth and I did the same thing. I was like, hi, I'm new to all this. What do you do? They couldn't have been nicer. They pulled out a laptop. They showed me stuff. They talked to me. They treated me with respect and everything. I'm like, that is how you do it.
Yeah.
That is how you do it. Yeah.
Right. So, I'm not to talk into about, you know, your job or your office. And you said you usually have a great group of people. I just want to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
With everything that's going on with the current occupant of the White House and everything.
Yeah.
Do your colleagues, like, do they just laugh it off? Like I sometimes when I read some of the stuff or I see some of the stuff on the news, and I just want to be a fly on the wall and just like hear what goes on, and maybe like in some of these offices when they're talking about it.
Yeah, I really can't. I can't talk. Yeah. I can't speak. I'm sorry. I really
no.
Yeah.
I knew I might have been toting a line there, but I said it's like I just imagine just a bunch of people just looking at it or seeing whatever is being said and just laughing their asses off. So or the opposite, they're like hoping that, you know, the call doesn't come in and they get X'd out or something. So but anyway,
but to answer, I mean, I can answer you from my private circle.
Yes.
Of I do have some family members that are very much pro the current occupant of the White House, which troubles me. But honestly, isn't all that different from growing up. We always had that part of the family that was, you know, in my mind, unsavory as far as their points of view. I won't say what I said, but one time I was at a family party and I got really drunk and I started yelling things that were the opposite of the hateful things that they were saying. I'll just leave it at that. Just, yeah. So much to the point, like I literally stood up on a chair with my rum and Coke in my hand, and all the horrible things that they were saying, I was saying what would be considered the opposite. And my sister came over and took my drink out of my hand, and she was like, "You've had enough." And I was like, "It had to be done." She's like, "No, it didn't."
That sounds like that should have been made into like a So two more things before we get into the Q&A.
Okay.
One, I ask everybody this. As you know, like I said, cybersecurity isn't always rainbows and unicorns.
Oh.
And you know, there are times where it can get difficult.
And
this is where I tell everybody to find your why and make sure your why is a strong one to keep you going when I don't care how much money you make. Sometimes the money isn't enough. So I think you spoke to it, I think earlier about, you know, your goals in life, but what is your why?
What is my why? And I mean, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but it's that Tikkun Olam principle of repairing the world. Even if it's just helping with one person, figure out if an email is phishing or if it's, something else. It's trying to make the world better is what drives me and is my why. And I feel like I've done that for a long time, whether it was as a librarian, or now. I mean, I was a travel agent at one point. Look, I'm old. I've had lots of careers, but whatever job I had, I've always wanted, to do it to the best of my ability, and to help others, to help either make them smile or make their day better. Like I said, and actually, there are three careers of travel agent, librarian, and in cybersecurity are all really, closely related in my mind, because they all are, kind of service, positions. So that's really my why, is just making something better for someone. It might not change their complete life around, but maybe I helped save them from clicking on a malicious link and, having a password stolen or something. It's, that's still better than the alternative. So I hope that answers the question. That's my why.
No, that's your why. Like I said, that's your why. That's your truth. And like I said, I can tell. I know it's genuine. I can.
Thank you.
Finally, what do you think of Harden possibly going to the Sixers?
Oh, well, I don't know if our city's big enough for his beard, because he has got a huge beard. I think it'll be good. Well, I mean, we got Seth Curry, so we're not doing too bad. But don't touch my Matisse Thybulle. I love that boy. He is, and I call it NEZs because he's like 20 years old. But I just love him to death. I love Embiid. Don't touch Embiid. Don't touch Thybulle. Yeah, we got Seth Curry. I mean, I think Harden would be great. I think the fans would love him.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if he comes to the Sixers, there will be a Harden's Beard Twitter account created. Oh, I guarantee it. Because we had a Jason Worth Beard Twitter account when Jason Worth was with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know this was sports talk. Let's get it.
Let's get it. I throw that in there because I know, like I said, you love your city.
I love sports. I'm so excited for basketball to come back. I mean, the Sixers make me nuts. But oh man, like that shot that what's his face Kawhi took with the Raptors that knocked the Sixers out. Oh my God. Toronto. Sorry, I'm going to go on tangent now. Toronto keeps doing this to Philadelphia. It got Joe Carter in 93 was it? For the Blue Jays, killed the Phillies. Kawhi with the Raptors. Come on, Toronto, man. Killing us. But Carson Wentz, like I said, Carson Wentz is on my cup, and I am very mad at that glass-kneed, redheaded.
Well, listen, like I said, I'm forgiving the fact, like I said, because you're such a great person, I'm not gonna. and that they're having a horrible season, I'm not gonna say it. Talk about the Giants game the other night.
Oh, but I think aren't we still like in first place of our terrible division, which is hilarious.
NFC East, everybody.
We are beast of the least.
Yeah. Everybody's on top and at the bottom at the same time.
I know, but you know what? We'll take it. We're first place. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care if it's Pop Warner League. We're in first place. And then my backup team are the Seahawks. And if what's his face doesn't get his act together, what's his face? Kiera's husband, Russell Wilson. He needs to get his act together.
So let's see. So I'm going to open this up for any Q&A. Like I do every episode, I will provide a link in the chat if you actually want to hop on and say something live. If not, you can put it in the comments. So far, it's just a lot of love for Tracy.
So welcome to Cybersecurity Sports Talk. You're on the air.
So I mean, there's a lot of, Mary Galloway says Tracy in all caps. I'm not going to yell it because I want everyone to wonder what's going on.
So who are your teams?
So I am a Giants fan. I adopted the Falcons when I moved down here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Wait, hold on. Wait, it gets worse. And I'm still a Bulls fan. So okay. Yeah, so I'm deep in the struggles right now. I think Funny story though. The first year we moved down here was the year that Atlanta and New England played.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I hate the Patriots. Okay, let's
Well,
go on record that I can't stand them. Right.
Same.
So of course, they had the epic 28-3 lead going into the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Okay, so when we first moved down here, I drove from Connecticut, so I still had Connecticut plates.
Oh no.
And I went out to go to work the next morning, and everybody in the community, like people walking their dogs, other people going out to work, they came out and they saw the plate, and they just immediately just started looking at me, and I'm like, first the Bridgeport came out of me like, what y'all looking at? Like, I don't even know. I just moved here. Like, what's the problem? And then I look at the plate.
No.
I look back at them. I look at the plate. I'm like, oh, no. I was like, I feel bad for y'all. I feel bad for y'all. And they were like, oh, okay. And then just kept walking, right?
That's hilarious.
And then the other thing was the week leading up to the Super Bowl, I didn't know that like the Falcons mantra was like rise up. So they were literally greeting people like that in Atlanta or in this area. So like they were calling it like, yeah, rise up. And I didn't know anything. I thought it was some type of cult shit. So they were like, rise up. And I was like, like, I don't know what's going. Like my wife used to crack up because like we were on a call with like the mortgage broker, and he was like, yeah, man, rise up. And I was like,
I would have been like, dirty bird, y'all, dirty bird.
I had no idea what it meant. And
oh my goodness, that's
on a commercial, and it was like, oh, that makes sense now.
That's funny. I see there's a question about certs or degrees.
Oh, okay. So hold on. Let's see. Oh man, everybody jumped in while we were talking. So let's see. Hold on. You stole my question. I was gonna ask if you thought about that. Certs or degrees. Okay. You go first.
Whew. Okay. How can I answer this? Okay. Okay, so the way that the industry is currently set up, certs are one of those things that will help you get past, the roadblocks to getting a job.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I feel like just having skills to make you good at your job is what's most important for you to keep your job.
Talk about it.
But unfortunately, our industry values certs. I feel like they value certs over degrees too much. And my problem with that is certs are expensive, and they can be cost prohibitive for folks. And then we're kind of back to where we started talking in the beginning of, doors aren't open to people, opportunities aren't available. So I feel like certs are a necessary evil to get you where you need to go. Degrees, maybe not so much, but it depends on what you're doing. If you're looking to, become a PhD in cybersecurity, which exists, then obviously you need a degree. Mm-hmm. That's a really hard question to answer. I just feel like whatever is the most feasible path for you without going into egregious amounts of debt is the most important thing. Your well-being, financial, mental health is the best. So, home labs and any other way that you can prove your skills.
Yep.
I think I feel like I'm copping out, but I don't want to say one or the other because I don't want people to take on debt that may not be necessary, because then you're living to work, not working to, or wait, did I screw that up? Then you're not having any fun. You're just paying bills. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're working to live. I agree. It depends. Because from what I see, a lot of the upper management roles, they want you to have a degree. Yeah. So I would say, get certs, get a couple of the low level certs, not the super expensive ones. If you can get the company you work for or whoever to reimburse you, or do some type of program where they can pay for it, even better. But there's a lot of resources you can do before you even take the certification. So like I said, I am a big advocate for courses like Udemy, where you can there's always a sale for like $9.99, like at least twice a month. Cybrary, YouTube, Google, Twitter. People are doing stuff all the time. I mean, I even stuff on my channel, not to plug myself, but there's several resources that you can do before you even take it. So I think I did a breakdown the other day. I was talking to somebody about they were trying to scramble to get the money for like the new PlayStation. And I'm like, okay, by the time you find the money to get the PlayStation and all the fixins and all the games that you want, you could have paid for 3 certs, right? I think the CompTIA is like one of the CompTIA Network Plus certification is $230. Same thing with Security Plus is a little bit more. But these are certifications that you can get, or exams that you can pay for, and you can get all the resources online. Professor Messer, everybody out. So, so I would say you can get a lot of the low-level certs. Like I said, if you're going to get into cybersecurity or mainly pen testing, I would say Network Plus, Security Plus, and then your CEH. And then after that, I wouldn't touch another certification. I would go and start up my own lab, go on VulnHub, go on Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, and get the hands-on skills, because with those 3 certifications, you already have the foundation to get at least an interview for a junior role. Now it's time for your skills to reinforce that. And like I said, that's before you spend any crazy amount of money on like a CISSP or any type of boot camp or anything like that. College, like I said, if that is preference. Like I didn't go to college, so that's just up to you. Let's see. Alexandria says, "Hey." So
hey, girl.
Hey. And then what does your lab consist of, hardware or virtual?
My lab is my kitchen. I appreciate that you think that I have a lab.
Well, my lab is just a bunch of VMs that I download off of VulnHub, and then after that is just my Kali Linux, my Kali Linux image. I have an Ubuntu image, I have a Windows image, and then I have a Parrot Linux image, and I tinker around with all of those. So, and then like I said, I do whatever I do. Like I said, VulnHub, I download them, root them, delete them, and then download the next batch. Let's see, AMD or Intel? I can't afford either one of them right now, so I'm not going to answer that.
I'm flattered that the person thought I would know what those are.
Those are processors. Or AMD, yeah. So
I am not. I've never claimed to be technical, so I do my best. I mean, I guess I do have a lab, but it's not anything fancy schmancy. I mean, I do what I need to do. I'm always learning, but I mean, I have a husband and 2 dogs, and I can't spend all night sitting on the computer. Like I need to, I have household responsibilities to do, so that's also where I think a lot of times, I'm going to play the gender card here where, so I feel like men have that edge that maybe the gender roles in their relationships maybe allow them to kind of hide out in their office or the basement and work on computer stuff. Whereas that's not really, I don't have that ability. I noticed that when I was in the SOC that the guys would hang out after work and like do CTFs. And I'm like, I have to go walk my dogs and feed them. Like I can't sit here for hours and play a CTF. And that was one of the first things I realized. I was like, yeah, that's also, and then I don't have kids, but if I had kids, that would even be, less time. So I feel like that's a real disparity among genders, just generally speaking. I know there's always going to be exceptions. But yeah, I don't have a lab because I don't have time to do it, because after I'm done working for the day, I have family, responsibilities.
Right. I mean, I had similar situations. That's why I kind of set up my own little, with my lab, and what I did was I put it on my internal network that was away from my actual network that everybody else uses. And this way I could just grab my laptop and literally scan whenever I had some free time. Because this is, it's the same thing. Like, my wife does a lot of the responsibilities that she handles, but she also is self-employed. Oh yeah. by the way, I gotta plug it. One's Dream Cakes and Treats.
Okay.
If you guys are in the Georgia area and you need any cakes or treats or
Ooh,
desserts,
yeah.
please hit her up. Follow her on Twitter, on Instagram. It's One's Dream Cakes and Treats, and it's also onesdreamcakesandtreats.com.
Nice.
So please contact her, and we're still working. JB, I know you're in here. We're still working out the whole ship. We're gonna ship treats.
Nice.
So yeah, like I said, that so yeah, I get that, and
I mean, brilliant.
yeah,
I would like to do that, and like I said, I just, yeah, I don't know. So it is something that I want to do and get better at, but it just hasn't. I just haven't had the ability right now. But I do things in other ways. I learn other ways. I skill build all the time, just in other ways. It's not a lab.
Yeah. Let's see. Mary Galloway says the Washington football team.
Well,
look, the interesting thing is, oh, there it goes. It just popped up. I was gonna say, is for some reason it wasn't popping up on my screen.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe it did that on purpose.
Bless your heart, Mary. I know you love your hometown team.
Somebody has to. Let's see. Maddox says AMD or Nvidia. Again, I'm still a little salty because I can't afford my custom build yet, so I'm not going to speak on it. However, I did see the line for the new Nvidia graphics card, and I was like, oh, were they selling the PlayStations early? And no, they were waiting in line for a graphics card. That's
another thing about me, where there are times when I don't feel like I fit in the InfoSec community because I'm not a gamer, and I'm not into sci-fi, and I only saw Star Wars for the first time like a couple of years ago, and
oh wow,
yeah, so there are definitely like conversations because but my husband knows all this stuff, so sometimes I'll read him tweets and I'm like, I have a feeling you'll find this funny, and I'll like read something and he'll be like, you have no idea what that means. I was like, I don't care. So yeah, I'll admit that socially there are times when I feel like I don't fit because I'm a nerd about different things than you all are nerds about. So like I said, for me, it's like right now, like The Crown on Netflix, like I love royal family stuff. So like I'm trying to watch it with my husband, and like I keep pausing it and like explaining background stuff, and he's just like, I don't care. But if we're like when he sat me down to have me watch Star Wars, he kept pausing it and explaining stuff, and I'm like, just play the movie. I don't care. And
yeah, so that sounds like me and my wife with Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, one time I surprised my husband because I was like, oh, I want to go see, this was a couple of years ago, I'm like, I want to go see the new Wolverine movie, and he was like, you do? And I'm like, yeah. And then he goes, oh, because of Hugh Jackman? I'm like, duh. I'm like, and like, yeah. But now Black Panther, I loved Black Panther, and that. Now my husband, like during the movie, he kept like whispering like background stuff to me. I'm like, shut up, I don't care.
That's me. So what my wife did is, now my son is he's big into it now.
Yeah.
So now in the movie theater, she makes him sit between me and her. So now I can't tell her anymore, but now he's asking me questions.
Okay, good. Yeah, tell someone who cares.
Right.
Because I don't care.
But now I tell my little tidbit, like, here's a fun fact, and I'm like,
see, but I would sit next to your wife and I'd be like, he fine, right? And she no. Oh wait, can I tell you about my super nerdy thing that I did? So this 2018, I was invited to speak at a law librarian conference in South Africa, and I was super excited. So I was flying from London to Johannesburg, and I saw that the in-flight entertainment had Black Panther. So I put the map on my screen, and I kept waiting until we crossed over Africa. And so as soon as we crossed over to Africa, I hit play on Black Panther. And then periodically I would pause the movie to see where we were. And I'm such a dork. Inside my mind, I'm like, are we over Wakanda? Are we over? I was like, kept looking. And I told my husband this when I landed. He's like, you are such a dork. I'm like, I was just like so excited, like different scenes. I'm like, pause, where are we? I'm like, okay. I was like so excited. So yeah, like it had nothing to do with Marvel or anything, but I was just like, oh my God, like I just feel like so close to this right now. So that's my geeky Marvel story that has really nothing to do with Marvel. But
oh my gosh. Okay.
See, I am a dork, just not in a way that you all are dorks.
But hey, look, there's room for all of us. So let's see. Cyber Insight says, as we were talking about here today, community college for the win, especially if it covers specific cert topics. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
I myself did not go to community college, but I spoke earlier on Twitter about how much I feel like they're undervalued, and I hate when people mock them. And if I was in a hiring position, I would take someone with a 4.0 from a community college over someone with a lesser GPA from like a more quote unquote prestigious school, because in my mind, community college folks, for the most part, are either working full or part-time. There are some that probably have family responsibilities, which prohibit them from going away to college. And I just feel like if you can, organize your work life and organize your school life and still get, really good grades and things. And there are so many super qualified people who are instructors at community colleges, because for them, it might just be like some extra dough, but they're like super skilled in whatever their other job is. So yeah, that's one of my things. Like, so even though I didn't go myself, I just feel strongly about supporting community colleges, and, I hate the stigma attached to it. And I just really always want to speak up and be like, no, like, don't look down your nose at someone.
It's that superficial bullshit again. But, like I said, I think I'm the same way. Again, I look for, do you have the skills, or do you have the ability to know to learn the skills or pick up on certain skills? And again, how's your communication? The few times where I have had the decision-making powers, I've hired people with lesser certs than me over people with 4-year degrees, just because they had you could see they had it. Some people just come in and they're like, I have this degree, so I'm just here waiting for you to back the truck up and pay me.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, cool.
And
have a good
and
day.
I've actually dealt with this when I was a librarian. I used to be very involved with our professional association, and every year we would give a prize, a monetary prize, to someone so they could attend our annual conference in the US. So, I mean, it's airfare, and hotel. It was a pretty, big award. And I remember you would get all these applicants. They were all from the UK, or, UK and Europe, but mostly the UK. And what advantage that I had as an American judge is I wasn't aware of the reputations of a lot of their universities, other than like Oxford and Cambridge. If there was another school, like, I wouldn't have any prejudgment against them. And I remember specifically this one woman, she went to like, a fine school, like I learned it later. It was like considered like a middle of the road school. It was fine. And one of the activities she did was she started a dance club, and specifically was the treasurer of the dance club. And she wrote something in her essay about how the dance club, even though it was like now 10 years after she graduated college, not only was the dance club still active, but they were, financially secure because of the foundation that she helped created. And I remember being like, winner, that's what I'm looking for. And I remember that when we argued about the judging, people were like, oh, well, this person's from Oxford and this person's from Cambridge. And what I exactly said to them was, I'm like, they are going to have every opportunity and every door open for them. I'm like, no, yep. I want the girl who started the dance club, who went to the school you think is mediocre. But, yep. And now today, fast forward, she is super successful in her law librarian career. And it's just been wonderful to see her flourish and grow, because she had that opportunity. And I took that role judging very seriously. And this is kind of the butterfly effect, about kind of, let's go full circle here, bring back to what we talked about in the beginning. Being kind to people, being empathetic, networking with people, you might help them do something that's going to change their life forever. None of us may know it at this time, and we may not know it for 20 years. But all these little good things that we do, like, who knows, that conference, the Hack at the Harbor conference, maybe there was someone who listened to our panel who in the future is maybe going to come to you, Davin, and say, give you an opportunity or something like that. That's what we all need to be doing. And there's this, Americans in particular have really grown into this immediate gratification sort of thing. Sometimes, good things come to those who wait. Sometimes we may not automatically see the good stuff. This is why you don't do these acts for yourself. You do it for the other person, and because you never know when it's going to turn into gold for them. So I want more people to do that. And I think we'll be a better industry and community if more people, did the things like that.
Amen. So let's get through the rest of these real quick. So Mary says a combination of all of them are important. Just depends where you are in your journey. That's absolutely true. If I butcher this name, please forgive me. Sonoran Born says 1 point. If you like school and do it and do well at it, it can be a great way to network. I got my job via my InfoSec instructor. That's absolutely true. Mary came back and says, find a job that will for education and the church. Yeah, listen. Let me. So that's kind of what I did. I paid so the job when I got my first batch of certs. I saved up like $200-300. I went to my boss. I said, listen, will you reimburse me if I pass these exams? He said, sure. So I took the hustler approach and I paid the $300, got my books, got my resources and stuff, took the test, passed it. So my boss cuts me a check for the $300. And now what I do, I just put it right back into another certification. And I kept doing that. And as I progressed, I'm still saving up money because I know, okay, once I knock all these out, this certification is not going to be $300. This one's going to be $5. So, and you do that, you take the money, put it together, flip it, and you keep it going. So absolutely, if you find someone if you find them to pay for it, and a lot of companies will these days, especially in the tech field, because they want their people to stay on top of things because they need to stay relevant as well. And also, it's also a way for them to keep the talent because talent, is hard to get and hard to keep. So you'll have these people where they say, hey, we'll pay for you to go to these trainings or we'll pay for you to go to get these certifications, but you may have to stay with us for another 6 months to a year. It just all depends on you. Let's see. Sherry says,
Thank Kitchen, yep.
LinkedIn Learning offers 1 month trial. Yeah, LinkedIn Learning is pretty good as well.
Try your local library. Some local libraries, if with your library card, may have some professional development courses. In older days, as in like February of this year, my local library, for example, you had to be on site at the library to use things like LinkedIn Learning and stuff like that. Now, because of COVID, a lot of it has now been opened up to use remotely. So I hope you all have library cards. But if you don't, look into it because your local library may have resource that you can use for free.
Okay. She also says PenTest Plus is now DoD approved, and it's a great test from
CompTIA. Mary, who's being interviewed here? Me or you?
Hey, look, Mary, no, I was going to say, listen, Mary, listen, we'll be in touch.
No, Mary knows I love her. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, no,
but yeah, get her on the show, and then I'm going to come and ask a million questions.
Yes, because she
knows
her stuff. So
I'm going to text her right now and tell her how much I love her.
So let's see. Cyber Insight says still waiting. I'm not sure. I don't know what that was reference to. Keep it techie says peace, family. Let's see. Naturally Me says yes, I get free LinkedIn Learning at the library.
What? Yeah, library. Yay.
And DFIR Diva says lots of free training out there. Listen,
wait, can we plug D for Diva? DFIR Diva. She's amazing.
I was just about to. I plugged her last week, and I'll do it again. She's an absolutely amazing person and an absolutely amazing resource. Her website is just dedicated to resources to help people get started or advance their career or learn skills. So please go check her out. And she's been a great supporter of the show and of me. So
and I bought a shirt from her. She has those cool shirts.
Yes, I have to grab a shirt. I definitely will grabbing a shirt this weekend. You can hold me to that. And then about the cakes and the shipping. Yo, listen, you're gonna be the first one. As soon as we figure it, matter of fact, you're gonna be the test subject. As soon as I get off the show, I'm gonna go over to my wife because she, we remodeled her area, so it's like her little bakery. I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna say, listen, once you're ready to ship, you're gonna say, oh, that is the end. Do we have anything else? Well, I don't see anything. So I always end it by, like I said, I'm a big advocate for their flowers while they are there to appreciate them. So Tracy, I want to say, just you can see it. You are greatly appreciated. You are well respected and well loved in this community. What you do is amazing. Like I said, you do things for people and you don't have to. And like I said, you genuinely want to see better. And like I said, when I think of you, I think of the saying, be the change you want to see in the world. And you are definitely an example of that. So I appreciate you. Like I said, I love it, except for when the Giants play the Eagles.
Well, we're both losers there, so whatever. Yeah, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Nobody wins when they play. But like I said, I appreciate you, and and any time if you need me, if I can help you, I'm there. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Yes, thank you
for being here. Like I said, I am off next week. You guys should be off next week as well. Take a moment, even if it's 5-10 minutes, to just sit back and appreciate some of the good things that happened. 2020 has been a shitty year. I know it, but there are some silver linings to it. So take that moment of, like I said, now of all time, just really be thankful of what you do have and be grateful, because as we've seen, our lives can be turned upside down in an instant. So I leave you with that. Like I said, I will see you after the Thanksgiving break. You guys be safe. Please don't get caught up in the media. Wear a mask. Stay safe out there. Cough into your sleeve, and just be good human beings. Damn it.
Exactly. Yep. Happy Thanksgiving. Wear a mask. Be good to each other.
Yes. All right. You guys take it easy.